An Australia without rugby league is not Australia. Rugby league has been a fabric of our society for hundreds of years. It's people's escape, it's people's relaxation, and we need to do everything in order to continue that great tradition of rugby league.
It has been those Australians who have worked hard every day. They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight.
The music dude there is, you know him, don't you? Out at Cronulla at the Sharkies, isn't he?
Stephen Ferris.
Is that who it is?
I think.
He does very good music.
He does.
Yeah.
I think. Stephen Ferris. He does a number of the grounds. He's a Dragon supporter, but yeah, he did Magic Round, all the music.
Yeah, right.
And they used to do. Well, they still do a show. Well, they won't be at the moment because there's no season taking place. But on a Friday, called Fire Up. I forget the radio station. It's one in Redfern.
If the season starts back.
FBI radio, sorry. Guys.
And Brendan Cowell, good afternoon, morning to you from Notting Hill, London. I did try to clarify that I would never, ever, ever commit myself to DJ for the Sharks. You know, that would be sacrilege for me. Correct?
What kind of what would you play the theme song to Jaws? Have you got any ideas up your sleeve?
This is the end, my friend. Is there a song called Toxic Swamp Kids? I don't know.
I think there's. I think that number. We get knocked down, but we get back up again. Could be playing on loop. You know, we are the champions to close. Whatever you want. Depends if it's 2016 or not.
Anyway, we thank Matty Johns for that. And look, I would like to open the show. Thanks, Matty. Now, Brendan, we'll get to you in a minute, what you're doing. We're in Sydney, you're in London. Rugby League is the great unifying force. It's like a rainbow of the planet, about to reveal its full bloom of colours in around about 2 weeks or less, I believe. I'd like to start with hair. And Rugby League players changing their hair regardless of the situation, generally, it will bring a great man down. And Wayne Bennett is one of those people who will support that at the moment. But I think in lockdown, Rugby League players are going a little stir-crazy. He's banned blonde hair bleaching. Kris, what do you think about that?
Well, when you say he's banned it, Stephen, and it's great to be on Fire Up's Quiet Australia with someone who's in the even quieter United Kingdom and yourself, Brendan. But I think he's allowed the South Sydney players to resume training with whatever hair colour they like. So Cody Walker's taken him at his word and he's come back with the bleach look. And again, the concept of anyone dyeing their hair blonde is anathema to me, Stephen. But
mate, it's alien to me too.
But Bennett has said, when we kick off and that blessed day, May 28, resumption day, we're all, praying at the altar, it's crew cuts, military style, and no colour. And in fact, that's the Bennett edict, is that you can't colour your hair if you're going to put on the Myrtle and Cardinal.
Who does he think he is, Clint Eastwood or something?
Well, that analogy's never been drawn.
No, I know. And apparently just revealed that Josh, the unloved grub, nobody wants him at this point in time, has bleached his hair to try and get a break somewhere. He's obviously missed that fashion trend.
Well, I think he's trying to get noticed by Dean Pay because the Tigers have, in a masterstroke, have swapped Paul Momorowski for Harry Grant. I don't know, Harry Grant sounds like an old-time entertainer, doesn't he?
I love it. And
he's can I say, in this revitalised rugby league, he's training the house down right now.
Is he?
Albeit in groups of 10. And there's probably no home for Grub, so he's trying to get back to Belmore, and he's not going to get noticed without doing the Barnet, and so he's gone the blonde Cody Walker style as well.
Is there a phrase that would say the Prince of Belmore, but with a B? The Baron of Belmore? I don't know. They love him there, don't they?
Is Wayne's kind of aversion to the bleach in this time where there's a lot of controversy about what players are putting in their bodies, flu shots, etc. Is this Wayne going, we don't want any toxic product in the head?
It's a temple. The body is a temple.
Yeah, the body
Brendan.
is a temple.
Yeah, don't fuck with bleach hair.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, we've seen players act out a lot, and I guess this is just symptomatic of NRL players gone mad.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I don't know what you reckon, Denis, but I mean, I think Wayne is ultra organic now because let's face it, it's not easy being Wayne at the best of times, but he is constantly being stopped by various authorities at both, local, state and federal level saying, how old are you? Can I look at your license? Mate, you shouldn't be outside right now, let alone training a rugby league team. So he doesn't want to get exposed to anything that's sort of chemical or not natural. What do you reckon, Denis?
That's right.
Well, I actually wonder about the wisdom of that because he's being stopped by his own players and questioned by his own players as to whether he's at risk or not. But I think Wayne has actually got this completely wrong because as Brendan was pointing out that bleach will kill viruses.
That's true.
Bleach kills bacteria. You don't want to be carrying it around. And if you've got a bit of surplus hair, you don't want to be carrying the bacteria. Just say you're getting into a tackle, you're rubbing your head around, someone touches your hair, touches the face, bang!
Dennis,
you've got bleached hair.
You're missing the point. Donald Trump has been requesting people drink bleach to kill the virus.
He's been saying that, and he's been using his hair. He's been oranging his face with the same gear.
Yes,
It's the Surgeon General USA has said, drink bleach, bleach your hair.
Gotcha.
So in fact, what you're saying is that Reynolds has got the memo early and that all the players will have bleached hair come May 28.
Yeah, and he also got the memo that said he's getting paid, $650,000 at the Tigers. He's only going to get minimum wage at the Berries. Not happy.
I agree that Josh has had a tough couple of years, but he's been well paid to have a couple of years by the West Tigers. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And while I look at my screen here, and I know the listener can't see the screen, or can they? I don't know in this world of technology.
Well, we're on YouTube, Stephen. This goes on YouTube, so you can see the screen.
Okay. Chris and I have got beautifully natural blonde hair, and the two below us have got beards, much like Satan himself, Cameron Smith, during this lockdown. What does that say about you guys?
Look, it doesn't. This isn't Cameron Smith's beard. Look how it's thin, it's wispy, it's not bushy, it's not even manicured. The thing that gets me, he's manicured it, like he's shaved it down to shape it. The whole purpose of an ISO beard is I couldn't be shaving. So why do you sit there and manicure the bloody thing? Get it off or grow it. Don't sit there and play. Don't go halfway between. It's binary. You have an ISO beard, you shave. You don't do both or neither.
Oh, you can see that Cameron's always a step ahead of everybody. And where other rugby league players have come apart during this time, he's hibernated. He's gone into a kind of ice cave. I think it's kind of reminiscent of when Bon Iver came out with that album forever ago. He just disappeared into a hut in the wilderness and came out and went, oh, I did this. And it was like Rolling Stone said it was the greatest album ever. And Cameron's going to come back with that beard and he's going to go, I've got 6 new tricks. And they're all manipulative and they all bend the rules and they're going to change the game. And that one poor referee doesn't know what's going to hit him because in that beard, Cameron has stored the next series of NRL manipulations.
In the beard.
It's all been festering. It's just been cooking in the wilderness. Yeah. Where is the wilderness in Melbourne? The Dandenongs, Hepburn Springs? I don't even know. I don't go to the place.
I think the whole thing's
not Albury.
And I'm assuming
I didn't even know Melbourne. I didn't even know Melbourne was still going. It is still going, isn't it?
Barely.
Still going.
I believe also it's on a paleo
road. Is Punt Road still going? Is it still full? Is it still dusty and packed all the time? Punt Road. Are people still playing AFL?
We can't tell you.
No. They're not playing AFL. They're not playing AFL. They're not allowed to play AFL. Danny has said no playing, no ball. So, yep.
No ball. Well, it was a game invented by a 10-year-old, I assume. So, no ball, that's my ball would make sense. I thought they were had their kind of tail between their legs. Kris, was this true that they were like, sorry, NRL for saying you guys are fools, but we might start too now.
Now we're going to start. Hey, Brendan, I believe that he was also on a Pete Evans paleo diet as well. There's Cameron Smith, and he's also fully killing whatever he can find.
He's going full wildebeest. He's got nude. He's played drums. He's made love with beasts we didn't even know about. And the wife's there the whole time with him going, as long as Cooper Cronk's not here, I'm fine. He can do it.
And she's looking at the ring that Todd gave her and going, how good's this ring?
This works.
What's in his beard again, Brendan?
Tricks.
Oh, just a whole bunch of tricks, a
Right.
whole bunch of tricks to come back and, because the whole wrestle and the ruck is getting so much attention.
Yeah.
What's Cameron going to do? He's going to come in and he's going to shift the focus.
Yes.
You know
And these
what I
new
mean?
referees have no idea about
No
how to
idea.
ask. Now, how do you ask what's in your beard, son? Give us a look at your beard. Doesn't exist.
Why do you think that they're going back to one ref?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Cameron can be the other one.
Yes.
Well, it's a cost saving that just presents itself, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And in fact, they'll have Smith wired up for all the other games. He'll just play his game, ref that.
All the other games.
The bunker will go.
Free of charge, and that's where the 2.5 mil is being saved, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you think Craig Bellamy penetrated the bunker? Cameron to Craig. Craig.
But you missed that from last year, Bellamy's bunker. What a great success that was. He looked like he was in witness protection somewhere. The thing about Smith, of course, is there's a documentary that not many people have heard of called The Last Dance, and we might talk about it a little bit later. But, of course, in the middle of it, the main protagonist took an enforced break, Michael Jordan. Some say because, he was upset about the loss of his father. Some said because he was owing a lot of money to gangsters. But it enabled him to rejuvenate the body and have this beautiful return to the career and more championship success. Cameron Smith has engineered this break because his body has shown its first signs of fraying. And he says, well, I'm not in a condition to play. I mean, that was pretty evident when he took on your mob, Brendan. So he's been able to engineer this break and come back better, cleaner, ready to go. It's mastery. And the one ref, you're right, it's got Smith written all over it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called a private conference, isn't it? It's a one-on-one. It's therapy.
We're do a Zoom call right now at Smith's house. Your Badger will be on it. I'll be on there.
Unbelievable. And I mean, how do we feel about this one ref? Mark Guy was against it. Freddie Fittler loves it. Where do we sit? Is it good, gentlemen?
Well, Brendan, as I might have said to you.
You go ahead, Stephen.
No, Dennis, you go.
I think what's going to be really interesting is that there's been no discussion, and there's been this little organisation, which is the Professional Rugby League Officiators, Officialdom Match Referee Union. No one's ever heard of them. They've been sneaking around since 2014. There's a website all about them, PRMLO or something, PRLMO, Professional Rugby League Match Officials. That's what it is. And they've pointed out quite awkwardly that the NRL has a collective bargaining agreement with the referees and haven't discussed that before saying there's going to be one referee. They haven't actually discussed it. So they actually have a little bit of union issue going on.
He doesn't care, does he, Volandis?
No, my question, just going back to before, is Volandis...
Put it all on the favourite.
Volandis Smith. Is Volandis challenging Smith, or is Volandis still beneath Smith and beneath Barb?
It's an excellent question. It's reminiscent of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, isn't it? So who's pulling the strings here, really? Sorry, Kris.
Oh, that's all right. I think when you actually look at what's happening here, and I mean, I love the refs union. They were going to go on strike for about 24 hours before they thought better of it. That the Volandis-Smith, which would be the traditional axis and where you think it's happening, they've both been trumped by Anastasia Palaszczuk. I mean, she is running the game right now.
She's beneath Freddie. She answers to Freddie Fittler because Freddie Fittler holds the voters. He holds the voters in the palm of his hand.
Freddie, Joey Johns,
does Gus Gould hold Freddie's package in his hand? So is Gus quietly holding the threshold still?
He's still at the top, though. He's underneath.
Yes. And it's just been wonderful to listen to Rugby League Radio and watch all the shows and just see everyone trying to pronounce the Queensland minister's name. I mean, I'm not even going to try, and I'm an actor. I was going to say trained actor, but I didn't get into it.
I want to see them spelling it. I want to see them spelling it out. I want to see them write it down on a piece of paper. That'll be a challenge.
Now, Brendan, you're in London. You probably don't understand that there's been a lot of momentous movement happening in Australia and in the media, etc. We've had the tragic loss of Alan Jones retiring today.
Yeah. Oh, no, you can feel 67-year-old white businessmen across the country weeping into their Penfolds Cabernets right now.
Exactly.
Okay, darling, who am I going to blame?
The shame game. And also, you might not know it, but you probably do. There's a lot of glamour in rugby league. And if it wasn't for Nathan Cleary, we wouldn't have that, well, dare I say, for I think today's paper as well, young nubiles dancing in front of us or pictured in front of us. And Nathan Cleary, of course, it came out that Tyrone Payne, who was also his flatmate living in the building, when these nubiles entered the house, apparently he told the commission, the Integrity Commission, that he left the room to go to his bedroom. He couldn't partake. They later found out that was a lie.
Jeez.
So the paper described them as nubiles. The paper actually said nubiles.
That's all they are. That's all they are.
Wow.
And what can you just for the listeners and viewers across what I assume is the rugby league world? What is how would you describe a nubile, Stephen?
A wriggling young lady.
Right.
Yeah, simple.
And you're willing to go on the record saying that?
No one's listening now.
Look, I looked at Nathan.
That's not my word.
And you know, I've got a mate who went on TikTok. I spend most of my days wondering what social medias I should get off because I should really be reading the Russians and writing my great work of art.
Yes, you should.
I'm looking at models making omelets, in Spain. And so I don't want another platform in which to lose time because, as we know, life is short and so is the 2020 Rugby League season. So I haven't gone anywhere near TikTok. But my mate, Andy Ryan, proud Queenslander, Bogan, he said to me that he did a Billy Ray Cyrus 20-second country dance on TikTok and it took him 3 days.
Yeah, right.
He said it is very complicated.
Right.
The lighting, the miming, all the chips. Like you might as well go to the Australian Film, Television, Radio School and get a degree in, being a cinematographer. It sounds, but I would challenge Nathan to prove that he can TikTok in 10 minutes with 5 ladies. On the Last Dance topic, when it came to mind and I saw Nathan there, and geez, we all have to admit he's not struggling. I put this to you, gents. Is Nathan Cleary the Denis Rodman of the rugby league?
Pretty clearly.
Pretty without doubt.
And that was why
he's no innocent.
Yeah, and he went back to the judiciary. That is why they slapped the 2-match ban on him. Not because he lied originally or failed to tell them about the TikTok video. It's that his dancing was so poor. And, I mean, it cast the game into disrepute. Because
he fell onto the couch, didn't he, in the second dance? I saw him. Was that him going, oh, shit, I think I might get in trouble for this? And he literally tried to dive out of the situation because his coach, who I think he might be related to, has said, whenever you're in trouble, Nathan, just get out, just run, just dive out of there.
Take a dive.
He's going, oh, shit, Dad, I'm in trouble. And he's just going a bit like this, but it's a little late, isn't it?
And that's where your theory comes unstuck, Brendan, because I've seen Denis Rodman dance at a nightclub, and Nathan Cleary is not in the same league, I'm afraid.
Doesn't really? Denis Rodman have some colourful hair?
And he's a friend of Kim. Kim from Korea.
When hasn't Nathan Cleary needs to colour the hair, he needs to get some bleach, needs to fix that up.
So maybe Adam Reynolds is the Denis Rodman of rugby league.
Who?
Oh, sorry, Josh Reynolds, I should say.
Josh Reynolds, Adam Reynolds.
You've got to say that, the daddy's parental advice, shifting from the Tigers over to Penrith, it's just made the young son rebel even further, hasn't it? It's not like he's playing by the rules. Daddy's in town and the naughty little son's acting out saying, no, Daddy, I was okay without you, Daddy. Watch me dance, Daddy. Watch me dance. And I like one of the girls was drinking a Corona just to remind us.
Yes, where we are. Yeah. She what do they call that? She watermarked it.
Yeah, is that branded content?
Timestamp.
Hey,
I think those girls ended up at the protest at Minnesota as well, didn't they? They were just there thumbing their nose at authority,
Loaded up with rifles.
We'll see those ladies come out after this is all over with their very own Penrith-based girl group, I imagine. And their first album will just be an ode to the Cleary family, I'd say.
Yeah.
Nathan's Corona boner.
On that note, this is Fire Up the Quiet Australians. We'll come back in just a moment and talk about something more serious. Okay, we're back. This is Fire Up, the Quiet Australian version of it, and I'm here with Kris Gale, Dennis Carnahan, and our wonderful friend from Notting Hill, Brendan Cowell. Brendan, I believe that Ruben Guthrie, which I've seen, is entering into a new medium soon. Is that news that's false, fake?
No, that's absolutely true, and I will not be denying that here
No.
on YouTube or on whatever platforms I'm now sitting on. I can't feel the weight of all the platforms, but I feel like there's a few underneath me. Yes, we figured Reuben Guthrie came out in 2015, opened the Sydney Film Festival and the London Film Festival comedy section, and played to great acclaim and dubious reviews, and it was based on the play that I wrote that was on at Belvoir Street Theatre. So yeah, it's out now on Apple and Amazon. I thought of a movie about binge drinking in Australia would be timely during isolation. I thought,
can I
who
ask
doesn't
one?
want to think about that?
Can I ask one question? You four in front of me. Has your alcohol intake gone up or down during lockdown?
Mine's actually gone right down.
Why?
I think I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know
worried
either.
about it. My alcohol intake's gone down. My exercising's gone up. My diet's gone through the roof. I've lost about 5 kilos. I'm fit as a fiddle.
Dennis, you look
I'm
amazing.
thinking-
Yeah, you're having a breakdown, Dennis. That's what you're having. You just don't recognise.
When's the book coming out, the Dennis Carnahan? Like, is it the 16.5 or I don't know what it is, the numbers, but have you got a song about your diet? I mean, when's this coming out?
I think it's just the not working. Not working's really good.
Yeah.
It's really healthy.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone was scared that they were going to come out of this time having, really ballooned. You see when people are going outside just doing the most detailed kind of push-ups with their wife. And Boris Johnson just announced yesterday limitless exercise, because that's what everyone in England is wanting. And it's like, I only got to exercise for an hour. I want to exercise all the time, Boris. I want to exercise 16 hours. And he said, well, you can go to the park with members of your house and just exercise all day. So people are going, great, I'm going to take Gran to Hyde Park and we're going to play badminton for 17 hours straight.
Have you heard that
one member from another house can come and play? Mate.
The Dogs Association have recognised, they've lodged a protest that no more exercise for dogs. They've had enough.
Yeah. I mean, dogs and babies have never been happier, are they? Because all they want is people staring at them.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest issue, is how the pets cope.
How the pets cope with the PTSD. They're like, the pets are going to go, hey, Rufus, or whatever the other dog's name, do you know any bats? Can you get a bat to eat a pangolin? We need another one of these things. Get a bat to eat a fucking pangolin. We need another pandemic.
I don't think there's many penguins left anymore.
I've never been groomed so much. They even gave me some Osso Bucco the other night.
Are they good at the pangolin? Because they sort of look a little bit like armadillos, don't they?
Yes, that's the
ones.
They're
a Filipino ant-eating animal that rolls up to protect themselves.
And they're armoured.
They're armoured, yeah, exactly. And they're kind of beautiful, but I think they're a bit lonely. But it's a show. You show your prestige in China, Kris, through the most rare animal you can have in your soup. So they imported this one. They imported this one from the Philippines and went, oh, I've got pangolin in my soup.
Yeah, what do you got at your barbecue?
Yeah, what do you got at your barbecue? I'm having pangolin. Like, what's pangolin? They're like, exactly.
Exactly.
Footage of the pangolin, they're quite reminiscent of Benny Elias and his pomp. Sort of the way going to the roll up.
And then boom, the whole world goes down the drain.
Exactly.
Royce Simmons, all that style.
When the
ruck
was a ruck, the pangolin was about.
I got some notes here.
Dennis's diet, by the way, last week. Your dinner was served while we were recording this show, Dennis. And you ate through the entire episode, which shows his dedication to the craft. It's some sort of keto thing you got going there. What was that?
that was my son had cooked some dim sim.
Diet?
No, it was dim sim.
Nice.
What was that?
Yeah, a little hargal that he did himself, brought him in.
Now, dare I say, this virus has introduced a new stereotype, archetype, call it what you like, the anti-vaxxer wag. Right?
Oh, the new
I
boss.
never heard of the anti-vaxxer wag before, but now we know it's a thing. It's been a thing for many, many, many years. Frank Wittgenstein will testify to that, as will Moses Samoa. And I had no idea how much power and how much influence they had over the years. I thought the whole anti-vaxxer thing was based in Mullumbimby. It was a throwback to, the Aquarius Festival and the anti-government sentiment, a little bit of 5G now thrown in, a bit of, what's his name, Bill Gates, whatever. But it's been reared its ugly head recently where, unfortunately, even Adolf Hitler's been dragged into this mess.
Well, yes.
So rugby league, you cannot play unless you get the jab.
Well, I think this all starts with what the theory goes that you need the jab because that if you get the flu, your immunity's down, you'll be more susceptible to COVID-19, and we can't have that apparently. Apparently, you can't have a game if a couple of people have coronavirus. I don't think that theory's been tested properly, but that's the deal.
That's right.
ScoMo comes in over the top of it and says, no jab, no play. That's the view. And Anastasia Palaszczuk, who does rule the game, has picked that up with huge enthusiasm. The debate, I think, was started by really what's turned out to be the epicenter, Brendan, of the anti-vaxxer or pro-choice movement, which is the Gold Coast. Because Gold Coast Titan Dale Copley said, I object to ScoMo's position of no jab, no play. He says, I think ScoMo has got his political parties a bit mixed up. The coalition is the one who's supposed to try and fight for our freedoms. Now, that surprised me. I've got to say at the start, that surprised me. Have I got that wrong?
Yeah. Well, that's right. And the anti-vaxxers, of course, are all about, they're not anti-vaxxers, they're about pro-choice because their bodies are temples and they want to decide what goes in that temple. I suppose you could argue that we don't need to drive on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the road. You can drive wherever you want. You should be allowed to take ecstasy into venues without being strip searched. There's a whole lot of things that I'm pro-choice about. Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works, does it?
Murder.
Look, it's what's odd about it is that this kind of thinking is coming out of the Gold Coast. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in terms of dubious things I've put in my body, I don't know if there is a town like the Gold Coast where I have put stranger, substances have come within my realm.
Are we talking about pineapples as well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it Cavalav? Cavalav. You need a bloody all sorts of flu shots just to walk down there on a Saturday evening. My Lord. But the Gold Coast Titans are rejecting the flu shot. They don't want the flu shot. If you look at the Gold Coast Titans, you'll see that the culture of football inherent at the Titans is not unlike the flu itself. Constantly sluggish, moody, tired, inconsistent, sneezing bullshit as an excuse. It is the whole epitome of the Gold Coast Titans is the man flu. Nobody understands how hard it is. Yeah. I'm the one who's got it. And I don't think I'm ever going to get better. I'm just going to be a bit sick forever because I'm a Titan.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's ironic that, the main player, Bryce Cartwright, he was the man who nearly could, wasn't he? He's got such skill, but he hasn't quite found his Michael Jordan moment yet, has he? He's kind of like Michael Jordan playing baseball. It's like it should work, but it's not working. Yeah. And it's ironic because, I find the Titans have a close relationship with the flu, and so this is baffling me. And Frank, she hid behind a piano, didn't she? Or was it a closet?
In an attic. He's in an attic.
And this is where the power lies. You keep talking about the beard of Cameron Smith and the Overlord, Landis, etc., and Gus School, etc. But when you've got Chanel Cartwright taking the advice of Mrs. Winterstein, talking about the diary of a young... Sorry?
Taylor Winterstein,
forgive me, sorry. Taking the advice of her and listening to about the diary of a young girl who was a small Jewish girl growing up in Nazi Germany, having to hide in a cupboard, wrote a diary, ended up in Auschwitz and then in Belsen and never to be seen again. And this, of course, she was a victim. Of course she was. And this is how they're feeling.
I don't want to correct you, Stephen. Wasn't she in Amsterdam?
Well, no.
I mean, I visited.
No,
the
she died in
museum
Belsen, I believe.
Amsterdam. I
What's
did
that?
visit the museum in Amsterdam, but
Did you?
I visited a lot of places in Amsterdam, and they all look pretty weird and pretty creepy, and you just end up looking at the ceiling and counting the
Yes.
amount of revolutions the
That
fans
is
are doing. But I just think it's time for, what's her name? Chappelle Corby. Who's he married to? What's her name?
Chanel Cartwright.
Chanel Cartwright.
Mercedes Cartwright.
Yeah.
I think Mercedes Cartwright needs to get on Netflix and just watch that, a lovely little series called Unorthodox, and then she needs to go on to Fox Live and talk to Paul Kent about Unorthodox, and I think everything will be sorted out.
We're pitching a TV series, Angry with Paul Kent, and we think it's a 26-part. But I like the idea that I like it in the end with the Winterstein Cartwright axis, if I can call it that they liken themselves to Anne Frank and that the NRL is essentially the Nazi Party. And on reflection, I'm not sure I've got a huge issue with that.
And where does that place Erin Molan? Who is she? Eva Braun? I mean, really?
Darwin.
And then the person who I really feel for in all this is Brian Kelly, because no one knows that Brian Kelly's objecting to the flu shot. It's all been about Nathan Peets, who had it in the end, and Bryce Cartwright. And is anyone looking after the Kelly kid? And,
No.
and the other thing that former co-host of this show, Brett Oaten, very pointedly highlighted recently, that when Chanel spoke up in defence of her husband, Bryce Cartwright, that was the first time that Bright was made familiar with something involving defence for several years.
and did you know, and of course Bryce came out and said, look, I've never said I'm an anti-vaxxer. I just don't want to have a vaccination.
What's going to happen when they come up with the cure for this Wu-Tan clan disease that we've all got? Is Bryce going to go, no, I'm out. I want it. I want the coronas. Bring it on to me. Give me a ventilator. I'm mad for it.
And Chris said, no one's talking about the fact that most people are shit scared of needles.
That's it. I mean, Dennis,
right.
Don't you agree that all the reasons have been put up, religious objections, adverse reaction to the flu shot, and pro-choice, fear of needles has not featured prominently. And again, Nathan Peets, who eventually did take the shot, probably had experienced 5,000 needles getting his tattoos, but seemed to eject a one lousy flu shot. It didn't seem to stack up. And,
I do wonder with Bryce, when Bryce had because he's had a couple of injuries, and I do wonder if he said to the doctor, oh please, no. As you're cutting my wrist open, as you're working my shoulder, no needles. In fact, cut it open without a scalpel. I want it completely organic. Don't you put anything in my body. Just grab it and rip it off and fix it up just with hammer. How does he do it?
Dylan Walker.
Dylan Walker.
On board.
Hello, pharmaceutical king.
He's just looking for an article. I wonder, Chris, if they did say to some of those anti-vaxxer players, it's not a flu shot, it's just a deeper tattoo. And then they could give you the flu shot and just draw a little picture of a bat on your shoulder while they give it to you. Is this something that could work? Is this collaboration? Is this fusion? You tell me.
It's all about branding.
I love it. Now, I want to bring something back down to reality, if we could. We've been waffling in high areas. Which towns love rugby league? Because I know there's a backlash against Albury. Is it Albury, Wodonga, or Albury?
It's Albury.
It's just Albury. Wodonga, as we've discussed previously, Wodonga is across the Murray River in Andrewsville. So it's part of Andrews territory. So they couldn't go there. So Albury, they've had to cross over, and Albury doesn't want them. Doesn't like him. But remembering, it's always a vexed question what towns love rugby league. Remembering that love, rugby league don't go together.
True.
Everyone hates rugby league. Anastasia Palaszczuk hates rugby league. Volandis hates rugby league. It's all about hate. There's just levels of hate.
Rugby league.
Alan Jones hates it.
No, despises it. Dreadful thing.
Peter Fitzsimons hates it.
Now, Tamworth loves the Warriors. They don't like rugby league, obviously, but they love the Warriors because the Warriors have made them an international airport. And the mayor of Tamworth has been out saying, that's right, welcome to Tamworth International Airport. We're an international city, cosmopolitan Tamworth.
How did Roy describe how the mayor of Tamworth came out dressed the other day to greet them?
He said he was at Tamworth International Airport to greet the Warriors dressed in full Maori chieftain gear.
Did he?
And there might have been a step too far, but, he's up in the right place.
Respect. Yeah. So you're saying Gold Coast has got the virus? They don't care. They love rugby league because they love the virus, correct?
Is that a question to me?
Yes, I'm looking at you, Brendan.
You can't actually see that you're looking at him because we're all in different positions on the screen, Stephen.
I love it. Modern
You
technology.
just got an insight into what I was like at high school. Oh, sorry, you spot. Oh, is that for me? Yeah, absolutely. I'm hungry. When's recess?
On that note, let's have a break. We'll be back in a minute with Fire Up the Quiet Australians.
I think we've got Dennis's song, haven't we?
Oh, we have a song for Denis. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Drop right into it. Well, you're a real tough cookie with a long history of being anti-vax. Now that's a little weird. You had to stand down, you say, they're being bullies. The Queensland government say, all you gotta do is take a little flu shot. Why don't you take a little flu shot? Take a little flu shot, then you can play. Volandis gets what Volandis wants. Volandis gets. You ain't gonna win, you're gonna have regrets. Vaccines are easy to choose. They're not much different to painkillers or tattoos. Take a little flu shot. Why don't you take a little flu shot? Take a little flu shot, then you can play.
Well done, Denis. Well done. Live in the studio. Look, many people say that you may love rugby league, but it certainly doesn't love you. That is not always true, because I want to ask any of you, who hasn't been bullied because they love rugby league like our great overlord Volandis?
Sorry, who hasn't been bullied for loving rugby
I ask you, have you been bullied? We've all been bullied for loving rugby.
I went to a GPS school. I went to a GPS school. I was constantly, taunted and humiliated because I like rugby league as opposed to rugby union.
Yeah.
It was a Volandis-like existence, Stephen. And the difference is, Volandis said that rugby league was his ticket to integration in Australian society and stopped him getting bashed up. There was no vehicle for me to do that at a GPS school because they didn't offer rugby league. It was only rugby union. And so I never joined society. And here I sit today in splendid isolation.
He proudly calls himself the Wog from the Gong.
Yes, the Gong.
Wow, but I imagine you can't call him that.
No.
Probably not.
No. Don't mess with the Greeks. That's what I tell you, Brendan. Don't mess with the Greeks because they started everything. You know that, right? Democracy, language, philosophy.
They did, and then the Romans perfected it. Isn't that true? Or that's anal sex.
Yeah. Now, I think they both share that one a little bit, yeah. So this myth of land seems to be growing exponentially. Like 1 minute there was talk of this notion that he created this sideline business called the Apollo Project, very much a Greek myth. Somebody else suggested that he was like a man from Wollongong. He was St. George. He was bullied, and he was the dragon was the bullier, and he was going to vanquish that dragon any which way he could. And
he slayed it with the power of rugby league.
Rugby league.
That's
what I'm saying.
Rugby league was his sword.
And some people have accused him of hubris. Is that right, Kris?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Denis, was his sword called Illawarra, but probably not. So no greater thespian, that's not the right word. I just looked at Brendan momentarily and the word thespian came to mind, Brendan. No greater...
the Sharks jumpers hand in hand.
By the way...
It is a creative hub down there in the Shire. They make some of the greatest contemporary dance in the Kirrawee, Gymea regions. Some of the greatest. Well, there's definitely a whole lot of drama south of Captain.
No doubt about that.
I went to an event once in the Cogra Bay Progress Hall. Is that in the Shire, technically?
Yeah. I don't think it's in the Shire if it's got progress in it. No, I think the Shire... The Shire got to 1957 and went, this is great.
Yeah.
Let's just wrap things up. Mentally, emotionally, fashion-wise, ethics, everything. 1957. This is how, let's press pause. You know what I mean? And the screen froze.
Brendan, have you taken the Shire to the Notting Hill Carnival?
What's that? That's pretty much my
Hello?
company is called Modern Convict, as I see myself as a modern convict. I committed many crimes in Australia that I'm still living down, and I've got sent back to England. You know. So,
And are you circa about 1986? That jersey, is that about right? That jersey you've got on there.
what do we got? Aussie Ducks.
Late 80s, I think.
I think it's late 80s. Yeah.
I can see E.T.
Yeah, well, it might have been around the time that E.T. and Sparkles were doing damage down the right flank, pre-Gladiator. Michael
Gavin Miller, you would have had Gavin Miller in the back row. Gavin Miller is a goal-kicking back row, yeah.
Jonathan Docking in the headgear.
Greatest player ever. Jonathan Docking. Barry Russell, who I think went on to invent OzTag. It was.
Is Barry Russell? Who's the CEO? Isn't Barry Russell? Isn't he still involved?
He briefly was, not now.
Yeah.
He briefly was. Yeah, they ripped the Velcro off that one. I think. Yeah.
They do go. They like to go through. They like to cycle through them quickly, don't they? Have you had a turn, Brendan?
Yeah. No.
You're next.
They've more come to me to buy the club in a Russell Crowe
style.
Brendan Cowell's an
And
actor. He's probably going to buy it. And I went, you might see that 90% of my career is theatre. So do you do contactless is what I said to them.
So Brendan, if you're talking Velcro, is that sponsor there a duct tapes company on your jumper?
What's that?
Is that a duct tape?
No,
Aussie Ducks is just the philosophy
they make ducts.
For scandal in Cronulla. It's just Aussie Ducks out of the way of yet another allegation against the Sharks. That's what it is.
Right, I have no idea what that jumper is then. Okay.
It's a form of guttering, I think, isn't it?
There's no peptides in this class.
So, Brendan, if you were going to sponsor the Sharks, would you put Modern Convict on the front?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
I mean, I think no sponsor for the Sharks. I think no referees for rugby league. I mean, that's where I think there's more money to be saved in just a fairness policy. You know, when you're driving up to the North Coast and there's just like a big kind of box of strawberries and they go,
help yourself, drop some
money.
money.
Just a little bit of that with rugby league. Just put $2 in for the strawberries, kind of like, let's just work it out. You know,
on the field,
no referees at all.
Okay.
I've always thought that. Imagine the situation where, and this is why there's going to be referees until the day where the two captains go, this guy's actually a clown. Let's just not cheat, so we don't need him. Until that happens, there's going to have to be referees. And there's going to be everyone complains about the referees. If the people didn't cheat, the referees wouldn't need to be there. Why are we blaming the rats?
Something? We were talking about the game's greatest thinker last week, and for the first time in my life, I'm going to applaud Buzz as that character, because this week he came out with an idea. He said, rather than the referees, why don't we just take one wrestling coach off each
It's amazing.
Genius.
It is amazing.
Did someone say game's greatest thinker? Oh, look at him. How good.
Look at that
How
body.
angry. So angry.
But if we're thinking about the game with no referees, no advertising, the Cronulla Sharks are perfectly positioned because they've got no ground. So they're looking fantastic right now, I reckon.
Yeah,
Who has, Kris? Who has?
If you ask anybody from the club, we've never been in a better position.
So Volandis was no greater scribe, Stephen, than Roy Masters, who's likened PVL, Peter Volandis,
to Zeus.
To Zeus.
Zeus, yes, that's right. The god of what?
Yeah, and that his crowning achievement will be somehow to fashion an extended broadcast deal out of this. And he said, if Volandis can pull off this deal, and I have to agree with him, it is probably the most magnificent achievement in recorded history in any endeavour, 2.3 billion over 7 years, then Volandis is going to move on. And who's going to take his place? And he says the key is in Project Apollo. And who's headed up but no one other than famous Balmain Tiger Wayne Pearce. Mm-hmm. But in Greek mythology, Apollo was the son of Zeus and is described as being beardless, youthful, athletic, Wayne Jr. Pearce, but not the sharpest in the temple. Wayne Jr.
So why did Mitchell Pearce not get the job?
Well, it could be the follow-through.
More the prodigal son story, isn't it?
Right. Now, given that we're talking...
because he's the son of Apollo. So Zeus begat Apollo. Apollo
Yes.
begat
Mitchell
Mitchell
Pearce.
Pearce.
Mitchell Pearce. And what we're talking about,
is that Zeus there? I think
And
it
then
might be-
Apollo, I think they then made a movie about that story, but they set it in space. And it was
Yes.
about how you can't drink your own urine twice.
We'll get to space in a moment, won't we? Talking of myths, is he not closer to Icarus, who, of course, believed he could reach the sun with wings made of wax? He was deluded.
Volandis?
Yes.
You think so?
I don't know. I'm just
Because
saying. I'm
he's
putting it out there.
flying
there's
too
not
close to the
one-
sun.
Yeah, there's not one
But what I
voice.
loved about Volandis, didn't he come out this week and say, I'm all for it, we're going to do it, but if it doesn't happen, I'll probably quit because I don't really
I'll probably
care.
walk. Yeah, back to
Didn't he
racing.
say that? He's
Yeah.
like, he's almost Buddhist in his nature.
Yeah.
He'll be free. I take no burden. All I want to really do is punt. I don't even really know the name of this game. Is it called reggae or reggae? You know, like he's just coming in going, this is just fun for me. And if nothing happens, because I'm at peace, because I am Zeus, I am at peace, I will just wander off into a new stratosphere. You
And
know?
if not
like,
Buddhism, it's business 101. If you've got a great job over there and a great job over here, you can give up that one for that one. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right, we're going to take a break and come back in a minute with Quiet Australians for our last segment here with Brendan Cowell, Denis Carnahan, Kris Gale, myself, Stephen Ferris. Stay with us. Well, I did ask you guys, towns that love rugby league, and apparently Albury doesn't love rugby league enough, so they've gone back to Melbourne. Tamworth is very much in favour. Of course, Sydney loves rugby league. You got any suggestions, anybody?
Towns that love rugby league. We're still struggling.
Come on, anybody?
Queensland. Look, actually, Queensland loves rugby league.
Yeah.
Sydney hates it. Sydney's divided by rugby
right?
league. Sydney's divided by its football.
What about Canberra? I suppose they love rugby league, don't they? Hey?
If the Raiders are winning, Canberra
We
loves
know where
rugby
you're
league.
coming from. Yeah, what
If
are you,
the Raiders,
what do you think?
if the Raiders aren't winning, Canberra couldn't give us stuff.
I always thought the Sharks should go with this one as the Jaws, you know, as
the
a
clap.
kind of, you know, go for the clap, and then in between the clap, we go for the Jaws, the Sharks. So you've got
Who wins?
you know, and that could, Michael Ennis could teach everyone that.
Good.
He's working for the Raiders now.
Yeah, that was my in-joke. You know, everyone he could play to both audiences there.
So he could actually do that himself. He'd be doing the double.
Actually, probably only bloke in Canberra that could manage that kind
This
of.
is the cost-cutting measure, I assume, Brendan.
Well, it's an absolute cost-cutting measure.
Now,
I
have
love
you got
Michael Ennis. How good is his hair? A mate of
Oh,
mine's son plays in Michael Ennis's son's football team. I think it's the
which
under-
son?
Yes, there
And
was.
and apparently Michael Ennis has them training in the off season. I think they're 7 years. It's just like, come on, kids, get up those sand dunes. Give me 6,000 push-ups. So you know, it never stops when you are Mick Ennis and you have that head of hair.
Brendan, did you have any suggestions about towns that love rugby league?
Well, I got some intel over the weekend. I emailed Peter Volandis a Hotmail, and I was just asking about where the clubs will be staying, or each club will be staying during new look stuff, because we've just got the draw. But it's a bit like rugby league world that I always thought would be a fantastic idea, is just to put rugby league players in the gated community and make them think they're in regular society, but really it's a 24-hour TV show. And they get, you know, visited by their wives, family, and friends.
It's
Really, there's, you know,
escape from New York style.
Little Bay Jail meets Big Brother kind of thing. But, and this is kind of exactly what's about to take place, really. So I got, I heard back from Peter _Volandis at Hotmail over the weekend, and he's told me where the teams will be staying. We haven't got a draw yet. Is this something you'd like to know?
Yeah,
love to know. Okay, here it is. So the Eels will be staying near Bank West because, let's face it, that's their only chance. The Raiders will be sleeping outside ANZ just so they can stay cold like at home, and Ricky can keep them tough.
Yeah.
Curtis Scott doesn't mind sleeping outside a stadium either.
Exactly.
For sure.
That's what I've heard. Broncos don't mind where they're staying as long as they play Friday nights only.
Yeah.
Sharks will be near the Concord Hospital, apparently, because that's where Matt Moylan, Josh Dugan, Wade Graham, and Andrew Fafita will be staying most of the season. Sean Johnson will be phoning it in from his car across the road from Concord Hospital. Cameron Smith says he's happy to referee all 8 games. Craig Bellamy in the bunker. But apparently wrestling is still not seen as social distancing by the integrity unit. South's accommodation will be paid for by Russell Crowe as long as he can play with his band in the bar every night for the 5 months. The Bulldogs will be in the hotel furthest from the local schools. Wherever the Dragons stay, Paul McGregor will likely be disappointed.
Disappointed or disappointing?
At his place.
And won't we all be disappointed? Yes.
He'll be disappointed. Shane Flanagan will be happy to have the team at his place in good time.
Absolutely.
The Roosters, who cares? They'll win anyway because they got the money. Warriors are in Tamworth. Apparently, they're always on the hunt for some decent players with a bit of grunt. And after the droughts, there's a lot of farmers there devastated by poverty who are apparently very handy in the back row. So the Warriors will be looking for some country guitarists and some ex-farmers. The Titans and Manly are sharing a hotel. But there'll be very clear signs just in case DCE goes to walk into the wrong door and then has to walk back out the opposite way. Michael Maguire has the Tigers building their own venue.
Yes.
Gus Gould is said to have emailed Ivan Cleary a 5-month plan on the accommodation setup. That'll be live on TikTok. And the Cowboys are just happy to be out of Townsville because, let's face it, it's a shithole. That's it, boys. That's where they're all staying.
Beautiful. And on that note, the great Paul McGregor said, look, there's an upside to losing Tyson Frizzell in that now we've got a bit of money to buy a good player. I'm going, wow.
Who said that?
Paul McGregor. Had a press conference. Good news.
That is a little bit like Gal's mistake about the social distancing fines, where he says the police fine is $1,000 and the NRL guy got 20,000, and he goes, so why are the NRL players being held 20,000 more times above the law than everybody else? If you do the math, of course, it's only 20 times above the law, but it's more that I thought if you're above the law,
that, Kris.
You get away with it. You know what I mean? I'm very sorry that you lost Tyson Frizzell.
It's enough to want to give you the flu shot, I tell you.
And Brendan, one last question to you. Talking about Mick Ennis, he's famous. He's got 3 kids, right? One is Randy Wolf.
Got about 16 kids, I think, doesn't he?
Is that right?
No,
well,
just the 3.
Randy Wolf,
just the 3. Yeah,
Kobe
right.
Fox, and Jack.
Yeah, that is true. And I think one of them has made it in the dancing. I saw him on one of those Fox League shows that goes for 8 hours the other night. And Brave and Sam just talk about their conquests, and it's all pretty laid back. And someone has a Coke and someone doesn't have a Coke. And I think I was on there, actually. I was on there. But, fascinating viewing. Once again, what was the question?
Which son was it that was playing footy that you know about? Was it Kobe Fox, Randy Wolf, or Jack?
It was the secret. It was the secret son.
Secret child.
That he had with the Canberra Raiders. What is that?
Victor the Viking.
Yes, Victor the Viking and Michael Ennis have a secret child.
This is sounding. It sounds like we're getting back to Zeus because Zeus Volandis, like Zeus had a lot of children. Zeus had Apollo, but there's also Aphrodite, Athena, Hermes, Dionysus. And also,
all sound like, don't you think they all sound like diseases that you can't get rid of?
Pretty much.
They sound like nubiles to me, Brendan.
They're all the men with diathenes.
But are you on the TikTok, Stephen? Are you on the TikTok?
Well, I want to bring it back to something you know very well. I want to talk celebrities to you, Brendan. You understand how they feel.
Yeah,
you understand how they feel and how they breathe. And I want to talk about this notion that Latrell Mitchell could be compared as a victim under the sufferance of media attachment and focus, just like Michael Jordan was. In The Last Dance, it was viewed. Adam Reynolds backed up Latrell, saying, don't pick on Latrell like Michael Jordan, otherwise we'll lose him.
Yeah, look, it's a touchy subject. Yeah. I don't really know how to talk about it until I know, is anybody going to watch or listen to this?
Define anybody.
You want numbers, do you? What's the cut-off point with?
I love Latrell, and I think
Me
he
too.
knows what he's doing, and
Yeah.
I love all this turmoil, and I love all this drama, because do you know what? I reckon he's going to fully do a Jordan, and he's going to turn around and he's going to redefine. He might not even play fullback or centre. He'll make another position called Latrell position, and he'll just come and redefine rugby league by holding it in one hand and jumping over people, and we'll all go, oh, really good. And no, good luck to him. My favourite part of the last day, I couldn't believe the episode 7 right at the end where he goes, and play with that mindset. I need a break, and then it was just so moving seeing him reflect back on how hardcore he was and whether he has any regret about that at all. But I love when they were pressing him on the gambling. He's like, I don't have a gambling problem. Well, can you quit? I don't have to quit. I love it. So you have a gambling problem? No, I don't. I just love it. I think that pretty much defines most people who are in the sort of program these days, isn't it? I don't have a problem. I just love it. Stop. I can't. But, amazing. I can't wait to see Latrell. And, I've played most of my acting career probably 10 to 15 kilos overweight, and it hasn't gone so bad for me.
No.
So,
Totally.
good luck to him.
Good luck to him. And finally, Tom Cruise wants to film in outer space. Kris, tell us.
So he's in talks with NASA, who, let's face it, like a lot of businesses these days need new income streams.
Yeah.
And the idea is that there's a lot of good quality real estate in the International Space Station not being utilised. So the idea is you put Tom in a rocket, fire him up to the space station and actually literally make a movie in space. Not one of your IMAX 3D walkthrough situations, but an actual dramatic turn. And he's well known to be a Souths fan, so apparently it's the Shane Richardson story.
Wow.
Russell Crowe's been opted to play Shane, and bizarrely, Tom's been opted to play Russell Crowe, which leaves Brendan. What role are you looking for in this particular production?
Well, I think I'm probably playing Andrew Denton.
Oh, right, yeah, perfect.
You got to look like, I know, fantastic. Not Ray Martin.
March for the 80,000 though in the space station is not going to be easy.
What about Mikey Robbins?
I think in my early acting career, Kris, I played a lot of characters. You're not doing very well when your characters don't have a character name. And you're Policeman 3. I was once in a war movie and I was the jaded Aussie.
Yeah.
In the war, and I ended up having quite a few lines that I improvised, and I had to say to the director, "Can I just be called Wallace or something in the credits so that people take me seriously?" So I would say I probably will audition for Higgins, for Denton, and I'll probably end up playing
Higgins,
Redfern local.
Yes.
By the way, the good news is that there's always silver linings. COVID-19, they dusted off Love My Way apparently, and it's a hit all over again. Are you benefiting in any way from that?
What are you talking about, Kris? Tell me.
That's what happens with these cult practices, isn't it? They just keep on coming. And I'm more than happy with, because when they bring out the photos, that I looked my best around 9 years. When I was 34, Kris, 34 is the greatest age. It's kind of like the Sharks in 1957. Everything should have stopped right then. I was so attracted to myself. I just played the Dane. My hair was at a great length. I couldn't put on weight no matter how much Nando's I ate. I just looked great. So I'm happy with all the media floating around about it.
Yeah. Up on South Head.
With Claudia Carbon is only going to up my brand.
Beautiful. On that note, we'll say farewell. Thank you very much, Brendan, from Notting Hill, and good luck with. What are you actually working on right now? If you're are you writing? Are you developing? Are you?
I'm doing a bit of a Cameron Smith, and I'm just going into the wooden hut in the wilderness, and I'm going to come out with a great work.
Fantastic.
For you. I'm working on a dance piece about Andrew Enninghausen at the moment.
Is this modern interpretive dance?
It's a modern interpretive dance.
Yeah,
about
great.
the life
Okay.
of Andrew Enninghausen.
Will it cover the fishing?
Yeah, it'll cover the 3 mil for 3 inches, kind of whatever it was. Was that what it was? I don't know what it was, but no, I'm just toiling away. Hopefully a bit of Avatar towards the end of the year, and like all artists who from Australia, wondering if we will be acknowledged, but trying not to sound like we're whinging, because that is the worst music in the world, isn't it, Stephen? The music of whining.
Yeah, exactly. So, when do we see you back in Australia? When they let you in?
I don't know. I'm a bit scared to do that. 14 days in a hotel without any air coming in. What's going to happen to me?
Yeah, it depends which hotel too, I think.
Yeah,
It does. But, I'll have rugby league
to
back
watch.
on the air. So,
Exactly.
Well,
thank you very much for not being too quiet for us.
No, never. You guys always fire me up. You bring it out. You fire me up. You're the
That's what we
greatest.
want.
You are the greatest. Me and Matty Johnson.
There he is.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Fire up.
Bye-bye.
Cause I'm all fired up. I'm all fired up and lonesome. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm acting just a little too tough.